Hey guys, and welcome to this episode of Grand Theft Advertising. So we're doing something a little bit different again, looking at the books which actually have been profound, maybe changed our views on things, just given us a different ideation on life, and everything in between. So it's just going to be something nice, easy, short, and maybe something that can help you in finding your muse or ideas. What do you think, Rafe?
Man, I'm pumped. Let's roll the clip.
Let's start with you. Give me your first book, buddy.
Okay. So as we do this pod, we're going to go off the beaten path. But I'm going to start right down, bang the middle. A book that was I'd say the best book that I read in 2023 that I'm going to reread this month is Clear Thinking. And I think I've mentioned this to you before. But it's a fantastic book by Shane Parrish. He writes this newsletter on Farnham Street, and he also releases like mental model books. But this book, I think, does a great job of condensing all the information that he shared, but in a really practical guide that can actually use to improve your life and how to think more clearly. So it sounds obvious, but this book, like highly, highly, highly recommend it.
And with that book, does it cover like not just like thought processes, but like breathing techniques, or like is there anything practical like that as well? Because that's one of the things that I've always found whenever I need to level myself, I take deep breaths. Like that stuff is like cocaine for me, in the sense like you're feeling anxious, you're feeling stressed out. 8 seconds in, hold. 8 seconds out, hold, and you do that until you basically balance out, and it slows everything down. So I'm just wondering, does it cover things like that as well? It might be
not really, because that's more of like a physiological response so that you can think clearly. I think the thing is like when you're getting stressed, you're then in your animal amygdala brain, which is the fight or flight part, and that breathing allows you to then move forward into your prefrontal cortex and your executive center, so then you can in fact think clearly. But once you're there, how do you think? What patterns are you seeing and what meanings are you deriving? And then how can you cut through the noise to get to the core of the issue? And that's what this book helps you do. Like once you're in your executive center, like prefrontal cortex, it's like, okay, now what? Like, how do I think clearly from here? Yeah.
So you're saying you're going to read it again. Why are you going to read it again?
Oh man, it's so much gold. Like I've said this before, but you know, books never change, but you do. So what you understand and what you glean from it is going to be different, because the problems you're coming to the book with are going to be different. And so, I mean, this, like, the way I like reading books is like every single page has something like lined up, written or something, or highlighted by me, because I go back to it, I'm like, okay, this is what was necessary. This was useful for me. So I digress. This is a great book. Definitely read it.
No, that's really cool though. I like the fact that like I'm just a big fan of, because obviously that speaks to the fact that the guy is a good writer as well.
Great
writer.
Being
able to clearly influence individuals with that type of writing is something so important. And people sometimes, I hear people going, I'm going to write a book, and then you read a few pages, you're like, who are you trying to write for? Because I don't understand this and I'm bored. Like, I don't know if you've read Moby Dick.
No, I tried to. I just couldn't.
I tried to, right? For me, people say it's absolutely golden, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was the most dribble I've ever read. And no disrespect, there was points in it where I was like, this is fantastic. And then he'd start going into some ridiculous detail on a particular thing. I'm like, dude, like, where's the point and how do we cut to it?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. And that could just be like us being shit, but like also it's like
it's definitely us.
Well, here's my thing, right? I think with any book recommendation, we're going to go through this because obviously we've stuck on this first one for a bit, but like the book is only as good as the question you bring to the book for it to solve. You don't just read it for no reason. You must have a question you're trying to seek an answer from, and the book is just a tool to help you find that answer. There's no points from reading from front to back every single word. It's like, have the question in your mind, go to the table of contents, be like, okay, this part will probably answer my question the most. Skip to that section, read it, get your information, close it, and then move on with your life. Because like, unless you apply it, it's irrelevant. And that's just like a little yeah, a gripe that I have, like a little pet peeve is like, it doesn't matter how many books you read. It's like, how much of the information have you actually used?
Do you actually use it? Yeah, I think it's the same as like anyone doing again, I know we're digressing a little bit, but it's the same thing about when people do courses and they watch everything and they don't implement anything, and it's like same.
I've been guilty of that.
Yeah. Dude, who hasn't? Like, I'm going to watch the whole thing, then I'll go back and do it. No, you won't. Just go do it. Just go do it.
That's right.
You'll be in a better position. Cool. I'll move to the first book. This one is by Viktor E. Frankl, which is Man's Search for Meaning. Have you read this book?
Honestly, it's been on my bookshelf. I haven't had the heart to read it. Yeah, it's. I mean, pitch me on it, man. Pitch me on it.
Yeah, okay. Look, dude, there are moments in it which are pretty like strong and emotional. For anyone who doesn't know, basically, it's about a psychologist who was in the concentration camps during World War II, and he does a biography of what's happening during that time. People's expectations of what life is drop significantly within the camp, and there is a kind of eat or be eaten mentality with some of the individuals, and how do you keep your dignity and humanity during that time? And it's a pretty wild book. I've read it 3 times now because the meaning within it is very poignant, and I just recommend anyone who is looking, who may feel like life isn't fair, to go read this book, and you will feel way better about your current situation in life. So that's my 2-minute pitch, I'd say, there or thereabouts.
I love it. Okay, so it basically reframes you with how you view your own life and the struggles in your own life, and perhaps maybe fills you with a bit of gratitude with where you're at.
Oh man, like, when you're thinking that life's, giving you lemons, and then you realize that this guy got given gravel and still made lemonade. You think, well, if that's the case, maybe I need to shut the fuck up and get on with my life. But
and get on with it. Yeah.
In no disrespect, I just think that this is one of those books that if you are really just looking to realign yourself and want something which is gonna not at any point make you angry, but just realize that there have been some very dark times in our history, and we should not forget them either. That sort of stuff just really sticks with me. So that's my number one book I wanted to recommend. Cool. Moving on. Raphael?
Right, I'm going straight down the barrel with a twofer. Obviously, this is Grand Theft Advertising. So, I mean, you can see it above my shoulder. It just so happens to be all 3 books are above my shoulder. But Alex Hormozi's offers and leads, they're so good. Like, I read them maybe once every couple months, every 3 months. Like, they're so good. They're so foundational and like fundamental principles that you'll need for advertising and marketing. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of that one, those books, and highly recommend it for anyone who's like watched the videos and they're like, okay, the videos it's covered in the videos. It's not like, this is like detailed stuff, like practical step by step, really gives you the ingredients to bake the cake that is your offer, or bake the cake, which is your leads machine. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So you're basically saying that these books specifically are a step-by-step guide. You can literally do it right now, and they'll be able to get you to having a funnel, having your leads funnel created, and be able to make sales. And look, this is the really cool thing about this podcast, is that my recommendations are completely the opposite of yours, but I love the fact that yours are like, let's go practical, let's be real, let's talk like thing. I'm going to be like, let's talk flowers. And
well, this is great. This is where we get this balance, right? Because like, sometimes I'm like too straight down the middle, so this is good. This is good, dude.
I love that. So with those, what were the books specifically that you'd recommend those to? What are the names?
So it was 100. Actually, I'll take it off so I can show you.
Yeah, cool.
It go. So this is $100 million offers. You should read this first, 100%, because if you don't have an offer that's like quality and worth selling, and you don't know how to position it, everything else is like way harder or difficult to do. And then you have $100 million leads. And as much as this has been hyped online, I don't think it's gone anywhere near the hype it deserves. Like, it's very few books that actually hit like and exceed the expectation of the hype they develop. This is one of them, along with this one.
That's interesting. So,
Yeah.
so in what you're saying there is that he's lived up to the hype in your mind. Huh.
Oh, dude, by far and away. Like I cannot believe these are all like however much they were, like 20, $30. Like it's insane.
Yeah,
It's insane.
yeah.
You can actually listen to both these books for free on Audible because he released it in this podcast form. Like you just listen to it for
Boom.
free.
There you go. And because we're advertisers, we may put affiliate links in this with these books. So feel free to benefit
Somebody's
us
got to pay
later
for
as well.
the Riverside subscription. You know, Perry can't keep holding it down for us here.
Oh, man, you know that $15 is just absolutely burning a hole in my pocket. You know,
That's right.
dude,
That's right.
I'm in pain. No, kidding. Cool. So the next one oh gosh, there's a few different ones I can choose because they're all good in their own way.
Okay, before you show what the book is, I want you to frame how you've used it in your life, and then share it.
Okay, it's been used to help me memorize things on a much more rapid basis and allow me to continuously keep information in my brain using a very logical process which builds off humans' ability to tell stories and visualize things.
Fuck, I'm sold. What is it?
Okay, boom.
Yeah.
It's called Moonwalking with Einstein, and this
I heard about this.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
book itself, it's all about, and you probably heard this, it's all about memory palaces, right? And it's about a guy that goes into a memory competition with zero knowledge of how to do this, and basically figures out how to start building memory palaces in your brain. What a memory palace is, just to give you an idea, is let's say you think about your apartment, your home, right? That's a memory palace. Now, can you connect one thing to another within that, which then creates this linkage of all these ideas that you have? And like, I'm not giving it as much justice as how he explains it, but the beautiful thing about this book is that once you understand that humans are storytellers and that they are visual learners, what a large proportion of us are, and you can create in your mind that there's you need to do a shopping list, right? And you need to have bananas, and you put the bananas in the top left corner of your room, right? And then next to the bananas by the window, you have your bacon and so on and so forth. There's a way to visualize it so that it continuously in your brain, you know, well, the bananas in the corner because there's a monkey playing in the corner with the bananas, right? You see him on this on the thing, and so you've created this story in your mind. And he throws over to the bacon, and the bacon drops down, and there's a pig on the floor that goes, "Thank you for my bacon." Now you've created a visual image and a story in your mind to go, the monkey's dropped down, the bacon's on the floor, he's taken his bacon back. And so by creating this story in our minds, which now has created a kind of mnemonic or kind of just story, you're going to remember this information. We are so good at remembering information when it's enjoyable to us.
Oh man, you know the crazy thing is, I'm hearing you say that, and I'm like, well, what if you forget the story? Like that sounds like that's a phenomenal idea. Obviously, the book was going to go much deeper from a step-by-step thing, but like, what if you forget the story? Do you just forget everything? Like,
if you can remember the first trigger, right? At most points that you've already created in your mind a synapsis to say that the next part of the story is the pig and the bacon, right? So you know what I mean? So it creates this story. So you're not worrying about the middle part, you're not worrying about the end part, because you've already created the story that allows you to remember from the beginning.
Oh, brilliant. Dude, that's awesome. I'm definitely going to get that, because I've seen that book like come across like my recommended for like years now, and I'm like, should I get this? I don't know. Maybe I should. I've never spoken to anyone who's actually read it. So I will do that. After this call, I'm going to add this. Maybe you can send me your affiliate link so I can buy it.
Look, honestly, I look, there's probably better books in regards to how to do it like specifically, but it's a story as well, right? He tells a story of how he goes into the Memory Palace Championships, and like
nice.
It's just a fun story, and because of that, it allows you to remember. Again, it's easy to remember because you know the story. So I need to read this again, though, in my opinion, because you know, like anything, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Fair point. I like that. That's a good recommendation. Okay, I've got a couple more here. This will be okay. I'm gonna leave this one probably till the end.
Special book.
Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, this is a. So okay, firstly, I'll tell you what this is about, like
Okay.
kind of you did. So what this book has really helped me understand is opportunity cost, how to be able to tell whether people are really about what they're talking about or they're just talking about it, and how to gain self confidence and self worth by creating evidence of your progress, and so much more, so much more. But it's Skin in the Game by Nassim Taleb. If you
Okay.
haven't come across this author, I would read his entire book series. He's got so many. He's actually an economist and a philosopher and a great thinker. And just, yeah, I'm not doing this book justice, but it's fantastic. And it, in the same way it calls out your own bullshit, it allows you to see you apply a filter to be able to see things as they really are and put yourself in the arena, because that's the only place that growth actually compounds. So yeah, great book.
I
Great
love
book.
that. I love that. I think that's in itself is just being able to prove. In some way, I'm guessing like to prove your worth, because again, this isn't a book I've read. That's not a book I've read.
Yeah.
So I'm just interested to basically what I'm going to do after this. I'm going to grab all of your recommendations and use those as books to read.
Same.
Because it just makes sense to me to build up on areas that I clearly haven't worked on as much as other areas, right? So
Exactly.
what would you say is another book of his that you would highly recommend if you can think?
It'd be Fooled by Randomness. Really great
Fooled
book.
by Randomness. Love that. Love
Yeah.
that. Love that.
Fantastic book. And it's just the way he calls attention to the absurdities that we as humans create meaning around that are just random, and we give meaning to it. It kind of I don't know if you ever watched How I Met Your Mother, but there's this one episode in How I Met Your Mother where it's like a glass shattering moment where you notice the thing about a friend that you weren't noticing before. I don't know, it's like a thing. Yeah, it's like, oh, like you noticed it and now you can always hear them crunch really loudly. But before anyone mentioned it, you never heard it before. It's like that. It's like when you read Fooled by Randomness, you start seeing like reading between the lines of things. It's really cool. Not in a conspiracy way, but more in like I'm getting closer to the truth. You know?
Yeah, like I think that connects in some way to patterns, right? And in the sense of like as humans, we love patterns. We always try to find patterns in everything around us. And so it's interesting you say it, because like being able to just take your mind away from the fact that randomness is only our concept of going, oh, it's like this because it just happens. Yeah, some things do, but realistically there's a lot more control than we think there is. So interesting.
Yeah, check it out, man. I mean, or in fact there's a lot more randomness than control either. So that's it's actually that way. So like because we think it means something, but it's actually random, which is sort of freeing.
Sorry, and I agree with that, because I used to put here's the thing, I used to put a lot of attention on meaning of things, right? And it used to be like, oh, that's happened because of that, or you see something and you go, that number means this, and that's, you know what I mean, those sort of ridiculous. These days, right, I'm just like, man, I don't give a shit, like like I don't care. That's the difference. I don't care anymore. I'm just going to keep going the route I'm going, and I'm not going to be affected by ABC. And it's like, when you talk to people, with no disrespect to anyone who likes star signs and all those sort of things, but when I hear that you're having a bad day because you read a newspaper that said you need to be careful of puddles, be careful of puddles anyway, you dickhead. Like,
or jump in them.
Jump in them. Whatever, innit? Just like don't create a personality around the meaning of things. Like, you control yourself.
That's fine. That's right. Yeah, but so I highly recommend that book and that author in general. Like,
cool.
Very, very, very much. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Next one I have is a book called Some. Now, Some is by a neuroscientist called David Eagleman. And what David Eagleman did, he's an amazing writer, but this book is a little bit different. He created 40 short stories all about the afterlife, right? So it's 40 different versions of the afterlife and what his views are. Just to give people an idea, the reason why I love this book is because it allows you to think in the sense of, just because there is one afterlife doesn't mean that there aren't 40 different versions of it, right? And then I use that in the same sense of marketing. I use that in the same sense of like anything to do with like advertiser or just anything, that just because one way didn't work doesn't mean that there aren't 40 different ways that it could if you hit the right mark. And so I'd gone into the advertising way a little bit. It didn't when I first read this book, but I've read this book probably like 40 times.
Wow.
Because, you know,
fair enough.
You know, 40, look, dude, it's like,
it's super, it's
two pages for a story.
Okay. Last book here. And it's sort of, okay, fine. It's going to be a 3 first. So I'm going to have to do this quickly because I think they're really good books and you should. Okay. A great book here, really quick. Play Bigger. It talks about, firstly, getting you to play bigger, but it talks about companies that go through different eras and different sections of their life cycle. And you can see patterns of where businesses are, whether they're in their pre-sale phase or they're in their harvesting stage or whatever the case may be. This is like a how-to guide for like new entrepreneurs. Really love it. I couldn't recommend it enough. Second book, I know this book. It's called Oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley. I think it's an underappreciated book. It's actually really, really good. It called attention to the creator economy and the power of an audience like well before it became like common sense of how valuable it is. And it, to this day, the strategies in here do still work and they're really, really good. So highly recommend that one. And
isn't that funny that like a lot of these strategies still work? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the people think that we need new content. No. The strategies
it's the fundamentals.
Work. How to find people and how to make friends and influence people is such an incredible book. If not anyone's read it, by the way, just to jump in there, and everything in that still works. Sorry, moving on.
100%. And very last one, I am doing this on rapid fire because I know I spent some time talking about books. Obviously, I love a lot of books. This is the last one that kind of overlaps with your book, which is Some by David Eagleman. Yep. This is different because it gets me to contextualize my life and add a sense in the same breath, urgency as well as stillness. This is the book. I think I've read this book 4 times, back to front to back. Like this is amazing. Like this is an amazing book.
I will read that. You read this. We reconvene.
Deal.
How's that?
Hell yeah.
I love that.
Sounds great, dude.
I'm going to just do one more book, and it's more of a concept than a book. Okay. So as you know, I live in Korea. I've studied Korean. I can speak Korean, right? Right now, I am reading this Japanese book but using Korean resources. And so I am learning Japanese through Korean. And so I wanted to just build out that concept of it's changing my whole thought process of how to learn because I'm using my second language to learn my third. Okay.
That's wild. I mean, tell me I'm stupid without telling me I'm stupid. Thanks, man.
No, dude. It's difficult. It's difficult. Like, it's really difficult. But it's just,
I'm joking. Like, it's amazing.
I feel bad now. I didn't want to have a stupid friend.
We can't be friends anymore.
But yeah, I just the reason I'm saying that is just because, like, if you have any, it's kind of in the same sense of, if you want to be able to understand a concept really well, you apply it or try and teach it. If you can teach something, you get really good at knowing it.
Hell yeah. Second that, man. That's a great place to end the pod. That's episode number 7, I think, in the books. Let us know if some of these books you've read or what you've gotten out of it, or if you have your own recommendations, let us know in the comments, and we'll see you in episode number 8.
Woohoo!